I'm getting married today! If you love somebody, you gotta let them go. One of the parenting things I've really struggled with the most postpartum is something I've barely been able to talk about publicly. Mainly because I don't know how to. And I'm really stoked for the handful of mates who tried like shedding light based on their own experiences or experiences of other mums in their circles. So shout out to Kate and to Sophie. But it's been so hard because literally it felt really taboo. I felt really whakama. I felt really lost. And I'm only comfortable talking about it now because I'm kind of through it. The hardest thing I've had to navigate postpartum was dealing with the fact my dog was not coping with having a newborn or a baby or a toddler in the household. As a fur mum, you kind of just dream the perfect picture that your baby and your dog will get along and it's going to be cute. They'll sniff each other and get to know each other. And that just wasn't the case for Joey. And what made that harder is as Amelia grew, she was so in love with Joey, but Joey was just in a constant state of stress, anxiety, and panic and could not figure out how to get away from this chirpy, bubbly, loud little girl who just can't get enough of him. Joey was always like a cat, like an independent boy. And in the demanding circumstances in the trenches, since having a sister instead of the 3 walks he tolerated every week, he needed more. Behavior changed, his needs changed. He wanted to be walked every day, every morning, every afternoon, constantly wanted one-on-one time, especially when Emmy was needing attention. He wanted more attention, which makes sense. The boy is jealous. He was our only child for so long. We had to retrain him with a lot of his commands because suddenly he didn't want to listen to any of it. He didn't know how to sit. He didn't know how to stay. He didn't know how to lie down. He did like the basic things that he knew how to do. It was probably one of the biggest tensions we had to deal with in the house. We couldn't keep up with the new demands that Joey needed attention-wise. We just didn't have the capacity. One, Joey was just constantly miserable and stressed and anxious. And when Joey is stressed, his skin condition like flares up. His diet gets affected when he's anxious. And so the poor guy just wasn't having a good time. One of the biggest advice I got postpartum is never make big life-changing decisions in like the first 6 months or year, because everything is intense and it's in the extremes and you're exhausted and you're knackered. You're mentally not there because you're getting sleep. So when Emmy was 5 months old, and this was sort of the first time we really had to take the situation seriously because Joey's diet was really impacted, Joey lost like 8 kg. We were really worried that his organs were going to shut down. That was the first time we had to really take a step back and go, this boy needs more, and we couldn't give more. And then that stress triggered my gastritis, and then I ended up in hospital because of my stress of being like, oh my god, mum guilt of like, now that I'm a mum to a child, I felt like I was letting my dog down. So after that 5 months, I made a 3-step plan. One was to give Joey a break, so a couple of my friends took him in for a couple of weeks just to give him like a little retreat. And Joey had the best 2 weeks. He came back golden and glowing and happy. When he came back home, he still reverted back to like being that unsatisfied dog. And then when I felt like we were at the ends of our limits, I was like, okay, let's bring a professional in. And we got a canine counselor to do an assessment on Joey's behavior and to do an assessment of our lifestyle and what other supports we can wrap around Joey. And it was really awesome having that counselor because they also gave us a really compassionate perspective about the new chapter of our lives and how that also impacts our dogs, and also break down the realities for our pet babies as the dynamic of the family changes. And the third and final option, which was the option I dragged out the longest, was that maybe the best reality for Joey and our whānau is to rehome Joey. No one ever talks about what happens when you have a new baby and your dog hates your child and it doesn't work out. What do you do? What do? You can't get rid of the baby. So after a year of being new parents, Daryl and I sat down and reassessed our life, and much to our sadness, we knew that the best decision was to rehome Joey for everyone's sanity, especially Joey's. And then when we made that decision, we were like, how do you rehome? Again, it's so hard. All of the rescue organizations who are willing to support rehome these beautiful animals are inundated because they're dealing with other rescues and fosters. We jumped on this rehoming process for Joey at the end of January. It took us 3 months, and I would even say that's fast. I'm a type A organized human. I created a very thorough vetting form that requested for anyone who was interested in adopting Joey all of the information so I could cross-reference their details with their ID, got information about what property Joey might be living in, did a phone interview making sure that we vibed, got to know more about their whānau, what their previous experiences were with animals, and why they think they're the best person to take in Joey. We did an in-person meet and greet, checked out their property, and then gave them a week trial to have like a chemistry test with Joey to make sure that they gelled. And we got really lucky because Joey is now with his new whānau. And I'm so insanely sad because I miss him so much. But after that week trial, and when we came and saw him before we signed all of the ownership transfer documents, Joey just looks so happy. The new whānau has 3 older kids who can give Joey all the attention he wants, take him for walks, give him all the cuddles. And when we did our final goodbyes, he was just so content that he didn't even care about us saying goodbye. I was obviously a mess. He didn't even sit next to me or cling on to me. He was sitting next to his new mum, just happily being patted away. And I honestly give my partner the biggest ups for being so patient and giving me the time I needed to process that, because this wasn't a decision I was mentally and emotionally capable of making in the trenches. The idea of saying goodbye to my dog whilst my whole life was changing would have just wrecked me. I didn't have the emotional resilience to be able to look after myself whilst I was already navigating postpartum depression and all of the things. He was my baby boy for 5 years. We went through so much together. Extreme financial hardship trying to get him through his $24,000 knee surgeries. Went into battle with insurance companies, making sure he got the best surgeon. I fundraise, give a little to make it all work. Questioned my whole career and lifestyle decision of being a contractor because that limited the amount of financial loan I could get. But at the end of the day, I'm so grateful for my Joey chapter because he really taught me what I'm capable of. He showed me my early bandwidth of what I was gonna be as a mum. He was my first dependent. He got me through some of my darkest days. It led me to the endless joys that I'm experiencing today. And I'm also really stoked this happened whilst Emmy kind of isn't really understanding this situation. Ability to question where's Kuya Joey, or that she hasn't had the ability to go Joey, because that would wreck me. I just wanted to share that because this was probably one of the biggest parts of my life that made me feel like an absolute mess and an inadequate parent. Because being a dog parent is a huge responsibility. And I felt responsible. And I was responsible. And it truly, the cliche is that if you love somebody, you gotta let them go. And that's why I'm a dog mum no more. I'm happy Joey's happy. I am. And I know the sadness and missing him is gonna stay for a long time. And time isn't something you can rush. And that's okay.